I have reached a crucial stage when it comes to the planning of the new Lego City, and I need your help, which is what I'm going to be asking for in this video. But first, a little bit of an explanation as to why this video is happening now. This should have been my vlog of my day at the Black Country Brick Show. It's a Lego convention I've been really looking forward to. It's another one that raises money for fairy bricks like Bricktastic that I went to last month and had a really, really good time. Unfortunately, I've thrown my back out. You might have noticed in the Milton Keynes video that it was a little bit shorter, a little bit more abrupt, and I wasn't as smiley as I would normally be in a video. And that's because Friday afternoon, I was lifting some stuff around, moving some bits around, getting prepared for setting up the new studio, the new stream room that's going to be in the room next to where I'm recording from now. I lifted up a box, twisted wrong. I've got a history of stupid back spasms, and I'm having a stupid back spasm. I've currently got a bunch of medication in me. I've got the TENS machine is firing away, and I've spent most of today, Saturday, lying in bed with a tennis ball under the spasmy bit, doing various stretches and exercises and basically trying to fix it and not really getting very far. But what I have been doing is sitting with my laptop on my lap and planning Lego City layouts. And I've got a couple of potential ones in mind. So rather than the scheduled video, we're going to discuss that. It does mean content might be a little bit sporadic for the next couple of days as well. So if there's no stream tomorrow, this is why. If you don't get the video on Tuesday that I was expecting to release, i.e. showing you the new stream room, this is why. Backs are annoying things, and unfortunately we're just going to have to go with it. And when it's fine, it'll be fine, and I'll be back to full speed again. Obviously, I can't really do much in the Lego City when I can't really bend or even sit for very long. It's really annoying. Getting old is rubbish, but I guess it is better than the alternative. But without further ado, I mean, that was a lot of waffle. I apologize for the waffle. The rest of the video will be focused on Lego City stuff. And those of you who've been watching for a little while will know that I have this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet in particular, where I have been going through and designing various versions of the Lego City throughout this process. And we're now up to, I think this is the one that I'm currently kind of building. We've got this one sort of laid out. We've got the tram line in. We've got the building set up in this kind of arrangement. We've got this train line in that kind of loops around underneath the raised platform and comes on here. We've even got a little bit of beach over here. This is what we're building towards. But based on a lot of the stuff that I've seen lately, both at the Lego house in Billund, when I went to the Bricks Museum in Milton Keynes, when I've been going around conventions, I am becoming less and less sold on this layout at the top here, where we've got a whole load of buildings that aren't facing me. This layout is fine for a city that you can walk all the way around. But in our Lego room, we've got walls on these three sides and also on half of this side. You can't really stand here. You can't really stand here. You basically can stand in this area here or maybe walk down these two little aisles. So they're the only angles we ever see the city from. And I've been seeing it in the comments quite a lot. Kev, please turn around the Avengers Tower and the Daily Bugle. And I completely get that. And my response has been, yeah, but if I do that, I have to rearrange all the roads. And I think the reason they're the ones being mentioned is because they're the ones that are most obvious. But actually, if you really think about it, the fire brigade, the new modular that I've put in there this week, you can't really see it. It's halfway down one of these rows. There's only half a base plate's gap between that and the stuff that's opposite it. You can't really see anything. All you can see is that there are buildings there, and then you can see the corner buildings and the sides of the skyscrapers at the back. So I think from the angle we're going to be viewing it from, this isn't ideal. And I have been saying from the start that I wanted to avoid modulars in a row. But I think the nature of the space that we've got and the fact that we can't walk all the way around it and the fact we'll only ever view it from one angle, actually, modulars in a row is the most logical layout, and it's the one they use at Billund. They had multiple modulars in a row. They would tier them up, but it is basically a line of modulars, an elevation, a line of modulars, an elevation. And it looked really good. And it's similar to how it was at the Bricks Museum. It's similar to how it has been at all these Lego cities I've seen at conventions. And I think we need to give up on the idea of trying to make the city realistic and instead try and make it look awesome. Which leads me to version 7 and version 8. So this is my version 7 that I spent most of the afternoon today designing, which, as you can see, has a couple of changes to it. So we have our tram line Let's just put that so it's properly labelled. We have our tram line now going all the way across, because a few people have said, why don't you raise up the line? If you're going to raise up the Lion Knight's Castle and the medieval bit, why not run the train under it, run the tram under it, and then you gain a little bit of space, because you don't have this corner being cut off the way we've got at the moment. We can't have the modulars all the way up to the edge because the corners get cut off. So that's an excellent point. Why don't I do that? So this one, the tram line would go all the way underneath the Lion Knight's Castle. That would be on another raised platform. And then, so we'd have this whole area raised as it is currently. This bit raised a little bit further with the Lion Knight's Castle on and the tram line running underneath it. And then we'd have a row of modulars, a road, and another row of modulars, and they'd all be facing us, the vantage point that we're in. The disadvantage of doing this is we can't fit as many in, because we're, rather than having 2.5 modulars between the tram lines, we're now only fitting 2, which means we do need to get a little bit more down here on the bit below. And it's kind of unavoidable to, if I want to stick these train lines in the way I want to stick them in, we are still kind of stuck with a few side-on bits down here. But that one, I don't mind that being side-on, because you can stand here, you can see it fine. I don't necessarily mind this being side-on because you've got gaps where there's not stuff opposite it. I'm not really sold on having this row of stuff completely facing away from me and a gap in between the buildings there. But it's a solution. It's one I spent a long time on whilst rolling around just trying to stretch my back out. It's a solution. I'm not sure if it's the solution. We also end up with our beach area and theme park area being quite crowded. I really am committed to the idea of doing the expanded expansion, even though Brixie's just started doing it. It's look like I'm copying him. I was talking about it before he did it, but I really don't want to do it. I'm an X-Men guy, which means if we have the X-Mansion next to all these modulars, we then really have quite a squashed up theme park. When you've got that space for theme park and you've got the loop coaster, and the loop coaster is almost filling half of it. So then we've just got the other half for a few other bits and bobs. And then we just have this side bit for our seaside. And I've got a vision in my head of, I don't just want a beach and a pier. I want it to be like Lego Skegness, Lego Great Yarmouth. I want British seaside. I want arcade, pub, fish and chip shop, ice cream shop. I want there to be a train station over here. I want a promenade. I'd love a seaside train, like the land trains you get at the seaside. Obviously, it would still be on track because Lego. I want the lighthouse in. I want beach huts and ice cream vans. And I can sort of fit it in. Again, we're getting stuck into this modular side-on thing, but they're against a wall here, so it's not the end of the world. This space is hard to figure out what to do with. We could potentially have the sea running diagonally and have the beach kind of diagonally. And that might be the solution, but we basically end up, if we take up all this extra space here, we end up with a squashed beach and a squashed theme park. And then over here, I mean, I've put Ninjago custom modulars into, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this yet. This is an area that's probably going to be left relatively untouched for quite a long time. So we don't need to worry too much about what's happening over this right-hand side. So this, at 4 o'clock today, Saturday, I was convinced this was what I was going to go and do next time I was there. But then the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like this. I didn't like this bit. I didn't really like this bit. And I decided to go back and look through some of my previous versions. And I got back to this version again, version 3, where instead of having the raised platform run all the way across the back there, we have the raised platform in an L shape. So it's here, here, and here. So we have an L-shaped raised platform that has all the modulars on, and then everything else is at a lower level. So you get more room for the beach. You bring the beach down a level and then do whatever you'll do over that side. So that's where version 8 has come from. And I think at the moment, version 8 is my preferred version. So I've listed all the modulars that I've got or am planning to get this year. My font size isn't great, but you get the idea. So it's got all the modulars I've currently got, plus the 7 that we're still due to get. So there will be some gaps when we initially set it up. But we would have this L-shaped raised area with a tram running all the way around it. So we have a nice looping tram. We could potentially, when money is a little more free-flowing, even have the back row of this raised up even further. So you could have, this is 2 base plates of width. You've got a base plate, half a base plate for the train track, half a base plate for the road. You could even raise 2 base plates up in a L shape on top of that, have the tram run underneath this one and have double width roads on both levels. You just have the tram running on this second one, but you have the double width roads on the top, plus you then raise this up and you can see everything then because it's all raised up. That's not something I can do straight away because wood's expensive, but it's certainly something we could move towards doing with this layout. But we'd have an L shape of modulars where they're all facing out towards me. From this wall, they're all facing out. So if I'm stood here, everything is facing me, and then you have a road, and then you have another bunch that where everything is facing me, apart from the corner garage, which is going to face away from me, just so we can fit something in there. It's not the ideal solution. It's probably not what I'll end up doing, but it was just a way we could fit everything in for now. So that way we get everything modular-wise on this raised platform, and a tram, and it is all facing me so we can see it all. All these fancy buildings that we've spent thousands of pounds on, we'll be able to see them all, which will be quite a nice novelty. And then what it does is it means we have more room for the beach, more room for the theme park, although it's more room very much with an asterisk for the theme park, because as you can see, there's no X-Mansion in this city. So the X-Mansion becomes part of the theme park, and we use minifigs to, I mean, it will explain why we're having superheroes wandering around the place. We could maybe move the Marvel stuff a little bit further up this way and have almost bits of the city integrated within what we consider the theme park as well, and just have the superheroes aren't really superheroes. It's a superhero themed theme park, maybe. But we could have the loop coaster in there, we could have the X-Mansion in there, we could have our other rides in there. But because we've got a bigger beach, we could also put some of the smaller rides on the pier we can now fit in. Like we could fit the Ferris wheel that we've got. We could fit a small roller coaster on a pier. We also get a nice row of seaside shops, seaside buildings, so we could put an arcade in, we can have a train station, we can do a British pub, a British fish and chip shop, a seaside hotel, a botanical garden down by the beach. I mean, Great Yarmouth has a botanical garden. I'm sure there's plenty of other British seaside places that have a botanical garden. It's not completely out of place having the botanical garden in our seaside town rather than within the downtown where it can get a little bit lost. If we have it within the seaside area, it's going to be very, very visible. You have this whole promenade area slightly raised up. I'm not talking about on a full-on raised platform that you can fit a train under. Maybe that high, similar to how we were going to do it in the old Lego City with the little 16 by 16 black art set plates. Just raise them up to basically raise this whole bit up a little bit. So you can then have like a sea wall next to the promenade that drops down to the beach. The pier can come off of that. You have room to put a seaside tram in. You could run a seaside tram along there because you've got like 8 or 9 base plates of width there now. It's actually worth running a tram back and forth. We get a bigger beach, so we can fit stuff like beach huts, ice cream vans, deck chairs, maybe a bouncy castle on the beach. We've got room to put our lighthouse in now and room for that pier. And then over here, again, don't worry too much. We could move the Lion Knight's castle down to this corner. We sacrifice having an industrial dock area, maybe. Or maybe we don't put that. Maybe we keep the Lion Knight's castle for the stream room. Maybe that doesn't go in the city and we keep the dock. These are things we don't need to decide now. What we really need to decide now. Oh, my back's hurting. I've been sat in this chair for 11 minutes. We need to wrap this up. But what we need to decide now is which layout is best for the city. Because if I'm going to do this L-shaped one, I need to move the raised platform from here to here. And I need to move the train track. So the track that we've currently got looping around like this, we need to turn into an L-shaped loop. The track that goes underneath and over here now doesn't need to go there anymore. And we could potentially have a second track or a third track. So we've got the seaside tram, but we could have something running from the train station, maybe across there. So we still have that underground viewing area just there, and then it could emerge in with the Ninjago, the custom modulars. It could maybe go from the seaside up into the theme park. There's options to put a third train track in, but obviously that's infrastructure I need to get in before I start detailing roads and doing scenes with minifigs and vehicles and stuff like that. So this is a decision we need to make relatively quickly, and that's where you come in. Let me know down in the comments, do you want me to stick with the current design or change to the L-shaped design is basically what I'm asking. There's no furniture that needs to move for this one. Although the modulars are going to change shape slightly, it's not a massive departure from where we currently are. We're just rearranging the roads. It's fine. So this one is sticking with the current design, but is a more optimized version of it so we can see more. Or the L shape means moving some stuff around, but means theoretically we can see everything. I'm very interested in your thoughts down in the comments section. But for now, I need to end the video and go and stretch my back out again. So if you have enjoyed this very emergency last minute thrown together video, that it's genuinely a video I would have done at some point, just not necessarily now. But it is something I need your input on. So if you have enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up on there for me. I can't show you a thumbs up because I'm holding myself up by my elbows. Subscribe to the channel for loads more Lego content. Bear with me over the next few days. And thank you very much for watching.